Welcome back to Amateur Game Review. This week, the boys are going to be reviewing Chrono Cross. Now, the minute they turned on this game and I heard that opening theme, I was transported back in time. Back to when life was magical and full of hope. Zach's head was full of hair, and I believed our dad might actually come home. Time when Squaresoft could do no wrong and all they did was pump out literal classics that shaped our childhood. Just like everything else, time marches on. Zach's obviously bald, our dad's checked out for good, and games just aren't the same. Remasters have come along to remind us that most games from our past are just not as good as we remember. However, there are always a few that stand the test of time. Is Chrono Cross one of those games? Let's roll in and find out.
Alright, well, that was hurtful. 2 episodes in, and I'm already regretting telling Ashley she could do our intros. That is why you don't work with family. Anyway, today we are talking about Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition, which is basically just Chrono Cross Remastered.
Yeah.
And what is Chrono Cross? I think that's the first thing that we should talk about if we're going to review this game.
It's a great question, Zach. It's a video game.
It's
a very good video game. I mean, it's an old school JRPG. It's actually a sequel to Chrono Trigger, which is another classic.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like Chrono Cross better. I know I'm gonna...
Before you start posting hate comments in the thing, I don't think that's true. I mean, it might be true, but he's an idiot. Anyway, continue. Chrono Trigger's a better game.
I played Chrono Cross first.
Okay.
Before I played. So, I mean, played it. I didn't know anything about Chrono Trigger. And I went and played the other one. I was like, yeah, they're both amazing games. So, really, I mean.
Yeah, and plus I'm used to you being wrong, so this is nothing new. Basically, it is a JRPG, traditional JRPG, turn-based style combat, that kind of thing from the late 90s, early 2000s. I think 99 in Japan, 2000 in America.
Back when Square Enix was
Yeah,
still
when
on top.
they could do no wrong at all. Everything they did was fantastic. And this game, for the most part, falls right in line with that. It's still a fantastic game. It did kind of let people down at the time because they were expecting a Chrono Trigger sequel.
Yeah.
And it's not really that. But that's beside the point. That can be for another video. We are here to talk about whether or not this remaster that they have done is worth picking up. So I say we jump right into it. The first thing that we should talk about is...
Yes.
Okay. There you have it. First thing we should talk about, though, is probably the biggest of the changes, and that's graphically. What do you think about this new graphic style that they've done?
If you set them side by side, like, man, it looks a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But playing it, it's the same. It's the exact same game.
Basically all they've done here, and I'm fine with it, is...
They color it a little bit.
They have redone like the artwork for like when the people were talking and their pictures pop up, and they brought back the original guy that did the original artwork. So it's a lot more higher detailed, and it keeps the same graphical style. It's actually really cool. But as far as like the actual character models, they just did like the traditional, like how they did with Final Fantasy VIII remake or remaster. They basically put a filter on it to make it pop out and stuff. But what they did do that I really like is the artwork in the background, because those are just pictures, like basically old JPEGs.
Yeah.
And they're like these character models are walking on them. They really, really upscaled those, and they look honestly like pretty, for the most part, really, really good. I had no problem with the way that they did the remaster visually.
Anybody in color, Zach?
Yeah, well, that's not true. I'm not an artist at all.
No, it looks good. It looks really good.
I mean, basically though, graphically, that's it. Like, they didn't change much.
It's colored a little bit.
No, it's not just, you know what, anyway. I swear you just do things to get under my skin. But no, when you look at it, it still looks like an early 2000s, late 90s video game.
It's still the same game.
Yeah, it's not like a Final Fantasy VII remake where they just completely, like, you're not going to be thinking you're playing PS5 here.
No.
You definitely know you're in that era.
Even some of the features they had, as far as the rewind and fast forward, that was in the original game.
That actually leads into the next part that we can talk about, and that's the actual gameplay, the combat and the actual walking around the world map and stuff. They've barely changed anything there. The only things they've really changed are like you said, they added the fast forward and slow down time.
Yeah.
And those were already in the game. You just had to beat the game once.
New Game Plus.
New Game Plus.
Which, this is one of those games that is beneficial to have a New Game Plus, because this is back when decisions video games actually mattered.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get a good ending, there's like, I don't know how many endings there are, so I'm not going to say a number because I'll just get told I'm stupid in the comments, but...
There's a lot.
There's like 11 or 13 or 16 or somewhere in there.
Something like that, yeah.
It's a number below 100.
Yeah.
So, anyway, they have a bunch of endings, and they also have a bunch of characters, and I think it's 45.
It's a lot.
Yes, a lot of them are kind of stupid, but you can't get all of them in one playthrough. You have to do at least 2. Other than that, the only real changes to the gameplay that they made was they made it to where you could turn off the battles. And there's no random battles in this game.
Yeah, I'll say that. Turn off what? There are no random battles.
Well, yeah, but you could turn to where even when you bumped into people, it didn't, unless you wanted to fight. They made it to where you could skip all that. And that actually doesn't hurt you any because mainly you only level up in this game by beating bosses, so those are mandatory.
You still get some stat boosts from regular enemies.
Yes, but there's a lot of enemies that you can't skip even with the thing on. Even normal well, no, not just the bosses. There's enemies that are blocking areas and stuff like that, and they will give you your things anyway. Plus that leads me to the next part that they added, and that is the power up button.
Cheat mode?
No, it's not cheat mode on here. It doesn't make you overpowered. All it does is make you what level that you would be if you've beat the bosses up to that area. So there's some optional bosses and stuff like that.
So it's not like with 7 and 9 and all those?
No, it doesn't heal you. It doesn't do anything like that. All it does, let's say I'm fighting this boss and there was 2 or 3 optional bosses I skipped that would have leveled me up 2 or 3 times. It would just give you those levels.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. It doesn't make you overpowered at all.
Have had it turned off because I thought it was with 7 and 9 where you got the limit break and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it kept you at full health no matter what. I just turned it off.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I really liked that addition. And this may be unpopular, I don't know, maybe people agree with me, but the speeding up thing, I love that. The leveling system when it came out was kind of, to me, dumb, but now where I can just walk through all that, not fight anybody, just get to some more story and stuff, I loved replaying this. You can get 5 hours into the game in an hour. The battle system's pretty cool. We'll talk about that real quick. It's like a stamina-based system, and you can do different moves that take different stamina. The better the move, the more stamina it takes. But you have to do smaller moves to build up your accuracy. It's intricate, but it's not really that deep. It tries to be like a lot of strategy and stuff like that. It's trying to be different. Yeah, it's trying to be different. It's trying to be very strategic, but it doesn't really need. It doesn't. No. It's not that strategic because nothing's really that hard on this game.
No.
Other than that, they have the element system, which on paper looks kind of confusing. And then you get into it, and all it really means is that basically anybody. RPG. Yeah, it's basically any magic system, and anyone can be any type of. You want to give your dude fire, you can have fire. If you want to give your dude water.
Everyone's got innate character in its color, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, Surge, he's white. So, if you put Holy Magic on him, it does more damage with it.
But anyway, the reason why, it doesn't bother me to skip all of that is because it's not like the battle system is, a must play. It's not the coolest thing in the world. Don't get me wrong, I actually prefer, I still like turn-based systems.
I can't tell. You said you want to skip them all.
Well, just, this one's not that, it's not like I'm actually sitting there being very strategic and stuff like that, trying to win these battles.
As opposed to what game? Where you are being strategic.
There's all kinds of games you're being strategic.
Like what?
Final Fantasy Tactics.
What the fuck? Just because Tactics is the name, does that mean it's tactics?
Just name a JRPG. Most of them had strategic combat, especially with bosses. You want to make sure that you put a shield on, or you want to counter this, or don't attack him with his shield when his ass is up in the air. Yeah.
That's one fight in the whole game.
There's other stuff.
In 7, when you guys tell it, don't attack him.
Oh, okay. Well, there's other stuff too. In 7, when the guy's undead, you could throw an X potion at him and kill him in one hit. That's strategic. I died to that fight 400 times before I looked that up.
That was an oversight. That's what that was.
No, it wasn't. That was purpose. Because, X life defeats death.
X life.
That's what it's called, right?
X potion.
Whatever. Anyway, my point is, it doesn't bother me on this game. I think it's a really sweet addition that they made it to where you can get through this game quickly and enjoy the story if that's what you're looking for, especially when there are so many endings. If you want to see a bunch of them, you don't have to sit down and waste summer of your childhood just to get a couple different endings. Or you could just go on YouTube and look them up. But let's move on to story, and you have played this a million times, so why don't you give us don't talk about what actually happens, just a brief overview, and then whether or not you think it's good or not, a good story.
Yeah, it's good.
That was a really brief overview.
You said you want brief. Nah, the story's okay. I mean, for what it is, it's a JRPG. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why you keep saying that as a negative. I love JRPGs. It's my favorite.
I mean, it's got a very JRPG-ish storyline.
What do you mean by JRPG-ish? You're saving the world?
Yeah.
But that's every game, basically. God of War, you're basically saving the world.
Okay, so...
Gran Turismo, maybe
you're
not.
You're nobody. You got all these powers. You gotta defeat God at the very end. Game over. You win. There's a little bit more intricacies.
So anyway, what he was trying to say is what the story is about is right there in the title. It's Chrono Cross, whatever. It's just like Chrono Trigger, like it's about time manipulation. But where this one does it differently is that in Chrono Trigger, you're in one world, and I think there's 9 different time periods. Like you're hopping back, you change something in one time period, changes in the other, and you're trying to save the world that way. In Chrono Cross, there's 2 parallel worlds, and you're this boy named Serge. You're 17 years old, and what happens is you like fall into a parallel universe thing. So you come out on the other side in the same exact world, same exact time, but in that world you had died when you were 7 years old. So 10 years ago you died. So basically in the one world you're still alive, you're a 17-year-old boy, and in the other one when you go over there, it's the same world but everyone's a little bit different.
It's weird because I mean this game does have a load of characters, right?
Yeah.
Not only are there a bunch of characters you recruit, there's 2 of every character. So it's like you
in
got
each world.
Yeah.
I mean like, 1 in each world, yeah.
And you recruit some of them, other ones you can't. But it says that it's the same day in both worlds or same time in both worlds.
Yeah.
Like there's some parts of the story where it says, all right, same people, same age, you know.
Yeah.
There's other parts of the story that's like makes it seem like they're 2 different times. Like you're getting a potion for somebody, and it's like they're saying, oh, the marshes dried up thousands of years ago. And then you go to the other world, the marsh is still there.
Well, yeah, it's because something happened in that world thousands of years ago that made it stop in this universe, but not in this one. I think Randy's just looking for more complexities than there actually is, because this game's just like, He's like, man, this game's so deep, it's so awesome, it's...
I never said that. I mean, it's a JRPG. You know how I feel about JRPGs.
No, I don't ever, because it's like your favorite game ever is like Final Fantasy VII, and then every other sentence you're like, I hate JRPGs.
I mean, 7's an outlier. I mean, I loved JRPGs when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I just can't get into them like I used to.
No, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you have this whole thing with like anime graphics and stuff like that. You hate it, and I don't get why, because it's like...
I don't hate it.
Every time we play a game that has anime graphics, you're like, that, it just looks stupid.
When have I ever said that? I just hated the anime aspect.
Dude, that's so terrible. I hate that art style.
It sucks.
So what did you think of that?
I hated it. Like the art style, and I know you love the art style of this game.
I do love the art style. I do.
I'm not a big fan of it. If I see like a cartoony game, I just think it's a kid's game, I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't call this cartoony. This is more just like artistic.
Anime. It sucks. Okay, yeah, fair point.
So, anyway, let's move on to one of the last things about the actual game here, and it's the music. And they changed a little bit of the music, but they brought back the original guy that did the musimusic to make those changes.
How old is he?
I don't know. I can't remember his name.
105?
That was only 20 years ago.
125?
100. God, you gotta stuck in my head now. It's like 22 years ago. It's not that bad. Anyway, the original game is the best part of the original game. The soundtrack was fantastic.
I love that opening song, Scars of Time.
That is a great song.
Great song.
Yeah, we put that in our little PS1 music mix, links above. I probably forgot to do that. Anyway, the music here is also fantastic. They basically just like remixed it a little bit, like not like remastered. There you go, remastered it.
Just like the games are remastered.
Yes, but it's like so much clearer. The music's great. Like that's the one thing about this game that's like almost perfect. I love the music in this game.
Zach has this thing about audio and sounds. Half the time I can't even tell the difference, but he's like, nope, it's not good enough. We gotta redo it. I don't know.
It matters to me. It matters to me.
You guys can't see it, but he's got mics everywhere. Like when we first started, we had the little shirt mics. I thought were cool. It's like, nope, they're not good enough. We use it for like a week.
They're still sitting over there. I'm not ever using them again. They were not good enough quality. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Let's continue. That's basically the whole game right there. The other thing that they did here was they released the Radical Dreamers, which is why it's called the Radical Dreamers Edition. Radical Dreamers was sort of the actual sequel to Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
It's for the Satellaview, okay? And it's like an add-on for the Nintendo, so not very many people got it to begin with. No. And it was only in Japan. So we've never actually had an actual release of it over here.
There's a reason for that.
No, it's good. So
how well do you think it was sold?
Over here?
Yeah.
Just the fact that it was a Chrono Trigger like sequel, it probably would have sold really good. But how well would it have been received at the time? Probably not great, because it is a text adventure, basically. It's like an illustrated text adventure. Think of like, I don't even know what to tell you to think like, but...
Like a book where it says, for this, turn to page 27.
That's exactly what it is.
I know.
It's like you get to make decisions and stuff just by, the text, but the actual little story to it's pretty cool. It kind of bridges the gap between Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger a little bit better. And it is cool because it is something that we never got over here. There are unofficial fan translations, but again, you can only get them by ROM hacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that alone is really cool. It's only about an hour and a half, but there's like 11 endings in that too, or 14 or 12. I'm gonna say a bunch of numbers so someone doesn't tell me I'm stupid. Just the fact that you can actually play that for the first time, to me, makes that a huge addition.
Yeah.
But that's the whole game right there. So I say we wrap it up and we give our final thoughts.
Okay.
You wanna go first?
Nope.
You never do.
No.
Can I go last once?
Nope.
All right, I'll go first. Sorry you guys had to see that argument. So here's what I think about Chrono Cross. All right. As a sequel, it's not a sequel to me. Like,
No.
that was kind of always my problem with it. I love Chrono Trigger, and Chrono Cross just didn't live up. Not gameplay-wise, story-wise. The story's fine if you think of it as a standalone. Anyway, that's not the point. To me,
What's wrong with the story?
huh?
What's wrong with the story?
It's not an actual sequel. That's what's wrong with the story. Don't call it a sequel.
No one's ever called it a sequel.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a sequel to Chrono Cross.
It's like, no, it's not.
Yes, it is. It was supposed to. It was like
It's
marketed
a
as a
standalone
sequel.
game.
They
just used
even
the
did like a little
Chrono-
thing.
Which, I mean, it's in the same world as Chrono Trigger because you got Lucas still. Lucas Robot. Bot. Remember Bot?
So anyway, I'm trying to wrap it up here. You can talk when it's your turn.
Remember the orphanage? No, never mind. You didn't get that far.
What a dick! Now I gotta start over again. So anyway, here's my problem with Chrono Cross. So anyway, as a standalone game, I think the game is really good. Do I think if you've never played Chrono Cross before, you should get this? Yes. If you're a huge fan, there's not really anything different from the actual version. It looks a little bit prettier. That being said, it's $20, and you can't buy the original PS1 version
Yes.
for $20 unless you just got just the CD. I think just the CD is cheaper than that. But
Maybe.
it's like I bought one not that long ago because I can't find my original.
You finally beat it?
No, but I did buy one. It's on the shelf. That's all that matters. Anyway, it's like $30 for the PS1 version. So you're getting a game that we can't really play unless you have the actual original hardware. It's never been. I don't think it's ever been released. It's not on Steam or anything like that. The only way you can play this is the remaster version, and that reason alone is enough to get this. And the Radical Dreamers never ever been able to be played in America. So
yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, it's something I'm never going to play.
because you're a hater, you're like, oh, I gotta read.
I might, but I doubt it.
Read? I know. I might. You might. I doubt you read too.
No, just, I mean, this doesn't seem appealing to me.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
can
are
say
you
it's
gonna
not.
play it?
Yeah, actually, I've started it. Huh, got farther in that one than you did. Anyway, so this show's shit. You just need to turn this off. Anyway, if I had to give it a letter score, it's only a B. But that being said, it is worth getting if you're interested in this. If you're a fan, get it. If you've never played it before, it is a good story. Just don't be expecting a Chrono Trigger-esque story because it's not an S game, and that's what Chrono Trigger is.
I mean, it's a great game. If you've never played Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger before, you're gonna think it's amazing. If you're into JRPGs.
If you're into JRPGs.
If you're not a big yeah. If you're not into JRPGs, don't even buy this game. 'Cause that means exactly what it is.
That's it. Yeah, if you're not into JRPGs, this is not for you. But if you're not into JRPGs, I don't know why you clicked on this anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the art style in the thumbnail.
But, I mean, I do like that it's only $20. It's cheaper than if you buy it off eBay. If you want it a little bit prettier than the original, go ahead and get it. If not, just go ahead and download an emulator and get it for play for free. So despite what Zach said about the Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, sequel, non-sequel, whatever, same universe, I wouldn't call it a sequel, because it's not.
That's what I said.
But
You said despite what Zach said, and then said exactly what I said.
I never, like I said in the beginning, this is the first one I played, so I wouldn't expect it to be a sequel or anything.
Okay.
Maybe people were expecting that. Maybe, I don't know if a developer ever says it's going to be a sequel, or if it, like with Final Fantasies, they're all different games. So this is the same world. I think people were expecting a sequel, but it's not. I mean, it's,
I was too young. I don't remember if they marketed it as a sequel or not.
yeah, it's 20 years ago?
22.
Yeah. We're old, god, yeah. I'm going to give it an A just for nostalgia reasons alone.
No kidding. Like, I don't know if everything that Randy has said will be in this video because like he says so much spoilers, and I'm the one that edits. So I'm just like, Randy, I'll leave this out. His opinion don't matter anyway. Everyone's here for Zach, and so like you guys might not know, but he's been like super excited this whole time. But so if I leave some of that in, you're like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. But if we're to this point and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, it's because I cut all that shit. But let's so B from me, A from Randy. That in there.
That's always we're about one of a 20-year-old game, 22-year-old game.
No, it's not a 22-year-old game. It's like a 2-week-old game at this point. We're reviewing Chrono Cross Remastered or Radical Dreamers.
I didn't spoil the Radical Dreamers part.
That's true. That's true. But I'll leave your shit in. Ooh. Anyway, so God, I hate when stuff gets spoiled. Stop drinking. It's empty. You drank it earlier. All right, that wraps it up for us. I don't know why you're still here, but if you are, hit that notification bell. Hit that notification bell. Click like. Hit subscribe. It really helps us out. Like, hopefully, like if we get enough subscribers and stuff, our like actual production value will go up because this is terrible. But hey, you know what? You just tell them bye. I'm getting up. You're not gonna say bye?
No.